Definitely not a warm day today. Still manageable, even for your plants that's outside all night. But we've had that little bit of a drop in temperature, and those winds are back as well. It is definitely going to get better over the next few days. But for the moment, the wind is causing a few problems. And it's not just for me. It has been mentioned on this channel over the last couple of days that people are having problems with windburn. And that can be quite a severe problem. It damages the leaves to a point of no return. First they'll turn white, and then they'll slowly become brown and die. There's not a deal you can do about that. If it happens to one of your plants and you've only got a few leaves on it, then cut off the leaves that are damaged and hopefully the rest of the plant's going to recover. But one of the main things you need to be doing is offering some kind of wind protection. If you live in an area where you know that you're going to get winds quite often through season, then you need to plant it where there's some kind of a fence or something like that. Anything you can put up when you know you've got quite bad winds coming is obviously going to be a benefit to your plants. So the longer you leave them in those winds, the worse that plant's going to get, and the wind will kill it. Because not only does the wind throw your plants apart, it's drying your leaves out. And a combination of summer weather and wind is obviously going to dry your plants out twice as quick. So they're not going to last very long in those conditions. So either plant in an area where they've got shelter, or if that's not possible, offer some kind of a shelter during bad winds. That's pretty much all you can say about that. But it is a problem. We get it every single year, and it usually batters all those potatoes before you even get to a point of flowering. And that's why this year every single potato we've done is in containers. So when we do get these winds, like in background today, you can see trees are shaking around a little bit because they're kicking back in. But when that happens, I know now that I can take all those containers that's outside and pop them in this greenhouse until that wind dies down and prevent that damage occurring in the first place. But your plants aren't going to die if you've still got a good amount of green foliage left on those plants. You can prevent it in first place if you just offer that bit of protection. But getting back to today, we're constantly trying to move forward. It's nice to see a few smiles on your faces after that previous video about your plants growing a little bit slow, and to stay positive throughout this season. It seems to have booked a few people up, and that's what we're here for. We come here as a community of gardeners. We're going to run into problems through season, and we'll solve those problems between us. There's lots of people started commenting below videos now, offering solutions to problems, which is brilliant. It's exactly what we're supposed to be doing. We've had quite a few more positive messages over the last few days about people's plants now seeming to do a lot better. Or maybe the mindset has changed now and we've got that more positive attitude towards next coming weeks. And not to forget, tomorrow is the 1st of June. So we're going to have quite an extensive video we're going to be putting on about what to sow and grow in June. And we also cover feeding and potting on, moving, planting out, seed sowing. Every aspect of things that we need to be doing through June will get covered in tomorrow's video. And again, we'll be breaking that down into weeks. So it's an easy reference for anybody that can just take 1 week at a time and go through things that they need to do over that period. But that's a video for tomorrow. Today we're just doing as little checks around as plants to see how things are getting on and see if there's anything that we need to pot on or sow. And we have still got quite a lot of plants outside on this bench. And since it's the last day of May, we definitely need to be looking at what we haven't done already outside. For me personally, most of the hoop tunnels are now full. We've only used half of that really long one this year because we didn't feel need to do as many as we did previous years, due to the fact that we've froze lots and lots of things already from last year's harvest. And we do videos all about that on our cooking channel. How to blanch, freeze and pickle your produce so it lasts a lot longer. Like pickling beetroot, cucumbers, making hot curry sauces, making soups from blended tomatoes. An whole array of things are covered on this cooking channel. And if you've not seen that channel yet, there is a link in the description. So if you pop over there and hit that subscribe button, when we put new videos on as we're going through season regarding what we do with this produce and the meals that we make with it, you'll get a notification to let you know that video's just gone on. So that's the reason why we've not used the old tunnel this year. And we've got another 4 tunnels besides, and we've got some calabrese in there, and we've got lots and lots of onions this year. Because what we started to do this year is approach gardening on a what we need basis. Not what you can grow. We can all grow anything that we want. But if we're not really going to use it, or much of it, then why spend so much time growing 40 cabbages or 8 cucumber plants like I'm very guilty of every single year. I usually end up with about 6 cucumber plants spread out amongst these greenhouses, to a point where I start pinning cucumber up on trees for birds to eat so they can pick the seeds out of them, because we've just got far too many. So this year we've done 2 cucumber plants. One so we can make those pickled cucumbers like we do on his cooking channel, and another one so that we can have fresh cucumbers for salads all through season. Because then prices of cucumbers are still going up in supermarkets. But we're not going to have to worry about that this year, because we're going to be providing ourselves with all the salads that we need right up until autumn. We do use lots and lots of onions, that is a fact, and that's why we've put so many in. And I'm just hoping that this pending heat wave that people keep talking about, where they say it could go anywhere from 27 to 37, isn't quite as severe as they're saying. Because if we get massive shifts in temperature like that, we could have all those onions going to seed. And that's pretty bad, because there's no coming back from that. You can't really save them. And they're not big enough to get anything of an harvest from yet. You won't see that until August. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that doesn't happen. So we've kind of restricted ourselves on the amount of things that we're planting and how much of each variety. We've only got about 12 tomato plants at the moment in greenhouse. We've got some spares, but normally I'd fill every greenhouse up with tomatoes, but we don't need it because we've still got packs and packs of blended tomatoes in freezer from last year. So it's on a need basis this year. We need lots and lots of peppers because we never seem to get lots of those, so we've done more peppers this year. We've not done as many cabbages and calabrese because we don't use lots of cabbage, and calabrese does have an habit of bolting as soon as it gets hot, along with cauliflowers. We've got quite a few red cabbage on the go because they're good to use in lots of different things. Hopefully we'll get at least a couple out of those over the next couple of months, because they are starting to form heads now. I've not done any hot peppers this year or jalapenos because we don't use them. I make a couple of batches of hot sauce and that's about it. We're not big fans of hot peppers, so once again there's no point in sowing seeds to grow plants that you're not really bothered about. You can never get enough of salads because they're also getting to be quite expensive in supermarkets, and while we've got this knowledge and this opportunity to grow his own food, we don't want to be going out buying bags of salad for 80p that last 2 days when we can have containers full of it. We've got this container that we've done quite recent, and we've put this nice sized cucumber plant in it, and you can see it's looking healthy, it's doing really well, it's growing more and more new leaves, and we're going to support that with a trellis. We never got around to it last week because of the commitments, but we'll be getting that done shortly, and we're going to be planting another one. I've still got a tomato plant that we haven't put in ground. We'll sort that out today, I think. And we've also interplanted little lettuces, and I think these ones are the romaine ones that I was talking about. And they're looking quite healthy, and because they're raised off the ground, there's no slug damage to them, which is always a bonus. All we need to do is keep his eyes on things like this, these little leaves at the bottom, and take those off. They're starting to slightly yellow now, as you can tell, so they're no good. That's the sort of thing that attracts your slugs in the first place, and we're just cleaning up these plants as we're going, and now we've got really nice tidy little plants. So you're not going to be eating these tiny little yellow leaves anyway, we know that. So just keep all those plants really tidy. And you've got 6 very healthy looking lettuces in there. Still got some pepper plants left. I think I'll just pop them in ground randomly outside and see what we get from them, because I'm running out of ideas with peppers. We've planted up quite a lot so far already, but I don't want to waste them, so we'll make us mind up on that I think today. I've still got some more spare romaine lettuces down there as well, so we'll get those took out maybe at some point this afternoon. This container's doing quite well. We've put in a couple of dwarf cherry tomatoes, and there's loads and loads of flowers on these now, and it's actually starting to put on quite a bit of size as well. And these are those Cherry Falls dwarf tomatoes, and I put 2 in this container to see what had happened, because I'm planting them alongside beans, and beans do expel nitrogen as they're growing, which tomatoes thrive on. So I thought it'd make a good combination in this container, but it is starting to fill out a little bit now. And I've put a little cane structure in there in case these need any support, and I don't think they will do, but just in case it's there for them. But these tomato plants are now starting to outgrow these beans, but the good thing about it is these dwarf French beans that we've put in here are all starting to grow the first sets of beans, and we've got quite a lot going off there, and we've still got a little moisture measuring tool in there as well, which tells us that it's still moist but it's not wet through, because the needle's only a quarter of the way up. So I just leave that in there so I can monitor these all the time. And we've also got plants at the back there, and again they're all starting to get buds on them now. So we've got some beans, haven't we, for definite, and then we'll see how many cherry tomatoes we can get from that same container. I might offer them a little bit of water, in fact. That one seems to be a bit droopy, so we'll get that done in the next few minutes. So instead of going completely over the top this year with everything, we are trying to concentrate more on what we need. But not only that, we're also concentrating on what is the easiest to grow, what is the most reliable plants, and what we use quite a lot of. And that is things like onions and potatoes. All the salads are a constant need. So it makes more sense to focus all my attention on that. We've got loads and loads of little seedling plants still growing on outside now because it's warm enough. We've also got things like these more dwarf broad beans that we've re-sown, and they've shot up in just over a week, and they're good sized plants, and now they're starting to split off. Little things like that we need to move on, like today, because they're a dwarf variety as well, so we don't need to move them into a massive container, we just need to move them so we're going to get something from it. We've got lots of trays of salad plugs ready to be moved into containers whenever we're ready. There's 24 separate plants in there in a very tiny area. No need to buy any salads at all this year, because while these are growing, we've got little containers with fresh seeds sown in them, so they're going to just keep coming and coming. I refuse to pay for anything from the supermarket this year that I know we can grow in a matter of weeks. It makes no sense not to. And then we've got these. These are ready for going in June. They could go in now. If I get time today, I might just do that. But these are more cauliflowers, and they're nice sized little plants now. As always, we just need to go around and take away any bottom leaves. And all the leaves on the bottom that are turning yellow and falling off, they're basically your first leaves, and we don't need those anymore, so we can get rid of those before we even think about planting these out. And if you'd have followed the video from last month, you've probably already got some plants like this, because that would have been on that list to sow more cauliflowers. And I do know that on the list that we'll be putting together for June, planting out cauliflowers is on there. And these are cauliflowers that you plant out now to harvest in autumn. So if you were planning on doing some autumn harvesting of cauliflowers, you've probably got some of these plants already grown as well. So we'll be working on those over the next few days. It's amazing that we're growing all these different varieties of salads that we've got as well, knowing that quite soon we're going to be taking harvests of fresh homegrown cucumbers and tomatoes, and we'll be able to make up lots and lots of amazing salads for virtually nothing, because we had enough patience to stick with what seemed to be an impossible mission so early in the year, because it really was an harsh start to the year. So anybody that's still carrying on doing the plants at the moment, well done you for sticking at it. We are still going to have other problems that we're going to have to deal with, like an onslaught of cabbage white butterflies. If they're not already here in your area, they're definitely on the way. So you've got problems with those, the continuing battle with slugs and snails, changes in weather, whether there's massive shifts in heat or cold, you never know. And then that original problem we started talking about, which was those wind burns. And we only started with that because it's already been mentioned on channel as a problem. And unfortunately, that's the only advice that I can offer for that problem, is try not to plant things in a windy area to start with. But if you need to put them somewhere and you get wind wherever it is in your garden, you've got to put those wind shields up. I've still got loads and loads of plants out there that I should have done something with already. We've got more cucumbers, we've got more courgettes, got more of those broad beans as well. So this afternoon I'm going to take another look through what plants we've got, what we've not already put out or potted on, and we'll get those sorted out. Meanwhile, we're just continuously sticking with growing all these fresh homegrown salads, so that all the way through this year we're going to save a little bit of money, but we're going to get fresher, tastier greens. Thanks for being part of the channel, I really appreciate it. And if you want to see what we're going to be doing later on this week, please hit that subscribe button and press that notifications bell, because you don't want to miss out on the what to sow and grow in June, because there's quite a lot to cover. Take care.